Before I make my full remarks, I just want to start off by thanking the property owners, the businesses, and residents of Ellicott City's Main Street. Despite the challenges and the difficulties they faced since July 30th flood, we've seen unprecedented levels of patience, cooperation, and resilience, as together we are making steady progress on the road to recovery. I also want to acknowledge the tireless efforts of many Howard County government employees who have been working day and night to make our progress possible. We've all seen the video and pictures from Main Street, and many of you in the media have been down there with us. I think you would agree that until you see it in person, you simply cannot comprehend what that flash flood did to our community. You truly have to see it to believe it. We have and will continue to make public safety our top priority. Tragically, 2 lives were lost during the flood. Since then, there have been no additional serious injuries, and it is incumbent upon us to keep it that way. While we are focused on safety, we also want to provide information that will ease the anxiety and offer some predictability to those who have been impacted and displaced since July 30th. To the businesses, we are delaying the collection of personal property taxes through at least December 31st, 2016. Additionally, we are waiving any interest or penalties that would normally be tacked on. We know these folks have suffered enough, and this is one more thing they don't have to worry about. I do want to make a couple of announcements. Effective tomorrow morning, we are taking 2 steps to shrink the perimeter of Main Street's no access area. First, we will restore pedestrian and vehicle access at the top end of Main Street from Ellicott Mills Drive to Court Avenue. There are a number of buildings there that suffered no damage or minimal damage, and it is safe to allow businesses and residents to return and reopen. I want to remind you, though, that parking will be tight. There will be no on-street parking, so we encourage folks to park along the Ellicott Mills Drive. Secondly, we will reopen Old Columbia Pike down to Main Street. This will allow access to those businesses located on Tongue Row and adjacent to Parking Lot D that are ready to open. You won't be able to drive onto Main Street, but you'll be able to get into and out of Lot D using Rousey Lane. We are providing limited parking in Lot D to accommodate employees and customers of those accessible businesses. You see the map behind me to my left here. That shows our plan for Lot D, which is down here. Be able to come in and out of Rousey and go to public parking here and public parking over here, and there'll be ability for people to drive in between. As I talked about earlier with Court Avenue, this is Court Avenue, so people will be able to come down from Main Street to Main Street and Court Avenue. So the businesses and residents here will be accessible. We will also be providing another 7 days of credentialed access to those businesses on Tiber Alley so that they can have more time to continue cleaning up. Again, if you're familiar with Tiber Alley, it's not on this picture, but it's down the lower end of Main Street. This is not to provide access for customers or the public, and access will be controlled by security. Later this week, hopefully Thursday or Friday, contingent on the weather, we will repave Merriman and Hill Streets. While that repaving is underway, credentialed residents of those 2 streets will be allowed to park on Lot F across the street at the top of Main Street. Lot F is up here. Then on Saturday morning, half of Lot F will be reopened to the public. This will make 46 spaces available. The other half of that lot will still be reserved for authorized county vehicles, giving us access to a critical portion of the Tiber River should we need it. Again, you can see this will be the blue area will be where residents and it will be open to the public. The red will still continue to be marked off for county vehicles. I am so grateful for the hard work that's been done, and I want to make a personal appeal. This is a very dynamic and constantly evolving situation. Please, if you don't have a real reason to be here, don't come just to gawk or sightsee. Many of you have asked, how can I help? Well, that's one of the ways. That's one of the ways. We are in communication with the State Highway Administration, and again, contingent upon weather, we are hopeful that we will be able to reopen the bridge over Patapsco River in about 2 weeks. That will allow us to further shrink the perimeter even more, moving it west of Maryland Avenue. By doing that, we would be able to restore pedestrian and vehicle traffic to the very bottom end of Main Street and up Maryland Avenue. Again, though, that's about 2 weeks away. During the next 3 weeks, we have a long list of projects to complete, and most of Main Street will be a major construction site. We have more sidewalks and portions of the street to repair. We have major work to do in front of the Salon Mariel. The owner of the property is working on some foundation work there, but we're also going to have to do some backfill and do some building some of the sidewalks there and the road. We still have significant work to do to stabilize and repair the slope on Hamilton Street. We have more repairs to do to the walls behind the Ellicott Mills Brewing Company. And BG&E will be undertaking an extensive repair and replacement project. Multiple sections of the natural gas line were damaged during the flood. BG&E will be putting in a new 4-inch natural gas line on Main Street from Court Avenue down to Maryland Avenue. They will also be connecting it to nearly 70 properties along Main Street. Needless to say, that's a very major undertaking. There's a lot of work that's been done, but there's still an awful lot more to do. I again want to thank the County Council for its support, as well as the many agencies from the state and federal governments. They have been true partners in this enormous recovery effort. Since the earliest moments after this flood, we have all been united under the banner EC Strong. As you've seen, it's already proven to be more than just a slogan. It's a reflection of the values that define us as a community and a true testament to our collective resolve that will serve us well moving forward. That's the only statement I have. I'll be happy to open up for any questions if you have any questions. Anybody?
Mr. Executive, how many businesses that you know of will be reopened here in the next few days and weeks?
Going down to Court Avenue, there's quite a few. I mean, it's not the major part of Main Street. It's not the majority part of Main Street by any means, but there's Judge's Bench, Wine Bin, there's an insurance agency, there's some other buildings, also some residents above those businesses. So it's a big enough impact. I think it'll be dramatic for them, of course. But I think it's important. It's an important sign that we are moving forward. It's an important message to our community that we're hopeful that we'll continue to shrink that perimeter even more.
Have those businesses been cleared to open, or are there still procedural things that need to happen in terms of inspections, health inspections, or building inspections that would allow them to get open in the next couple of days after tomorrow's opening?
I don't know about every property, Brian, but I know that most have been cleared. I believe Judge's Bench has been. I believe the Wine Bin has been. And so, of course, if there's any other issues that had to be done with utilities, whatever, that would be between the property owner and those utilities. But for our purposes, we're going to have open traffic down to Court Avenue starting tomorrow.
Mr. Executive, that was kind of what you had said to me yesterday, just the fact that there's a lot of businesses right now that could open right now if they were allowed to, correct?
Right. Yeah, we're trying to make sure that some of these buildings weren't impacted as much, but because of our need to use Main Street, we just couldn't let anyone get onto Main Street while we had these major trucks coming down and other things. So I really appreciate their patience. They have been very, very kind and considerate to us, to understanding that we're doing the best we can to get things done there. But now, knowing that BG&E is going to start at Court Avenue, go down to Main Street, to Maryland Avenue, that area is going to be available. We weren't sure about that at first. It was always, as I said earlier, this was an evolving situation, and it's still an evolving situation. But now that we have a little more better idea of where we're going to do the major work, we feel comfortable that we can open up the road to there. Anybody else?
How about Frederick Road? What's your forecast on when that can open?
Frederick, you mean going into Baltimore County?
Yeah, all the way through.
Well, the hope is 2 weeks from now. We've been working with State Highway Administration. They've done some shoring up of the bridge. They have to do some work on the walkways on the two sides of the bridge. We're hopeful. Our goal is in about 2 weeks, give or take a little bit, we'll be able to open up the bridge so that people can then turn left onto Maryland Avenue and go out of Ellicott City in that direction, not go up Main Street. Nobody's going to go between Maryland Avenue and Court Avenue for a while, and then we'll continue to shrink that as we can.
Are you going to try to get the buildings repaired before the street opens? Because doing both is going to be kind of tough.
No, the Main Street has been closed. We gave 5 days for folks to come in and clean up.
I realize that, but
Yeah.
I'm talking down the road here.
No, but no, the reason I was saying that, though, was to say that we let folks know that this was our expectation, hopefully theirs as well, that they could clean everything up. Don't plan on building things during those 5 days, because we need those 3 weeks to be able to fix the road, fix the sidewalks, make everything more accessible for everybody. Then after that 3-week period is over, and during that 3-week period, if they need people to come in and give them estimates of what they need to do, figure out what has to be done for those buildings, they can certainly do that during those 3 weeks, contacting our Economic Development Authority, working out appointments to do that. But hopefully, when the 3-week period is over, they'll be ready to come in and start building.
Any more on the emergency declaration? You said that you wanted to have that extended. Is that something the council has to?
The council has to approve like they did the last one. We've been in contact with Councilman Weinstein, who represents the area, and I do want to thank him. He's been very supportive and very involved from the very beginning, and he has kind of been our conduit with the county council. It's his district. He's here every day. He's down either on Main Street or Disaster Assistance Center. He's been all over the place, and so he's basically been our conduit to the county council, and we've talked to him about that on, I talked to him on Saturday morning, but we also just yesterday as well. So, no, he's basically been the person who's working with us and being our person to help with the council, and he's done a great job, and I know that he is supporting this, I believe. I've talked to him about that, but he'll be talking to his council colleagues.
Mr. Executive, I know deadlines and dates can be kind of a dangerous thing in recovery efforts, but when can people expect Main Street to be fully reopened?
I think we need to, I won't put any expectations on that. It's a long way to go. I see our Director of Department of Public Works is here, and he's probably would go crazy if I gave you a date. And I don't blame him, because it is a constantly evolving situation. It's not going to be unusual us to find out. I'm sure I'll be surprised in the next 3 weeks I don't have a meeting with someone saying, Mr. Executive, we dug up this part and we found something else. And because of that, you can't give anyone any more expectation than that. Our goal was that in 3 weeks, we'll be able to have it opened up for pedestrian traffic. And that's best we can do right now. But again, I got to thank the residents and the business owners and property owners, because they have been nothing more than gracious to us in understanding the problems we're going through, the difficulty we're going through. And, you know, when you have people to work with like that, I mean, it makes our job so much easier. And, you know, I've had some people tell me that it's unusual to have an executive or an elected official be able to go down to a devastated area like that, because people are usually very upset, and they have a right to be. But I go down there almost every day. And all I hear is positive attitudes of, we're going to make this better, we're going to make this happen. And thankful to the county government, to the Department of Public Works, the police, the fire, everybody else that's been involved. And just thankful for the volunteers. It really has brought our community together in an amazing way. And so I don't need any protection detail, I don't need anything. I can walk down that street and people are working together, and we're happy, and we know this has been a hard thing for us to take, but we're not going to let it knock us down.
How about Midnight Madness?
We'll see. Let's wait and see what happens. I'm hopeful that we'll have a great time, be able to light up that the holiday tree there, the Christmas tree there, and have a celebration in December.
Be extra special.
It sure would be. Okay, thank you all very much.